covered this bill since it was introduced, hearing from both advocates and those opposing the bill.
Yeah, really, that's right, Jenny. Tonight I spoke with an Omaha woman who entered herself into the debate as an advocate against legalizing the drug, something you don't always hear about. But I also talked to a Bellevue mother who says marijuana would drastically improve her son's life. Here are their stories. When Linda Thorson heard that Nebraska could become the next state to legalize medical marijuana, she needed to tell her son's story.
All you hear about is that it takes away the pain. And we're dealing with something life-changing, it's destroyed his life. He will never be the same.
Greg was 15 when he first tried pot. About a year later, his mom says he was addicted to it. But that didn't hit home until Greg's 21st birthday.
There's just no other way to describe it except for the young man that he was gone.
Greg had a psychotic breakdown and was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. The psychologist said it was his daily pot use that spurred the condition.
All you could see was the terror and the fear, the anxiety, the separation from reality was so evident.
Greg's now 35 years old and has improved, but he's forced to live with his parents and may never be able to hold a job. Linda testified at the state legislature last month against the bill, saying while it may have helped a few people, the unintended consequences outweigh the positive outcomes.
There's not a person on the planet that doesn't have a heart for anybody that's in pain. So why wouldn't you want something if it's going to relieve them? But I'll tell you, walk a day in my shoes. Follow us around.
So that's one mother's story of how marijuana ruined her son's life. But out in Bellevue lives 16-year-old Will Gillen, who suffers from a severe form of epilepsy. His mom says his life would be better with cannabis.
We're not saying that it's a cure or that it's the silver bullet. But however, we do think he deserves a chance to try it.
Will was diagnosed with Lennox-Gastaut syndrome when he was a toddler. He now has the brain function of a 2-year-old and consistently has seizures multiple times a day. Hurting himself so much, he constantly needs to wear a helmet for protection.
Our main goal is to keep him out of the ER every day.
Shelley and Dominic Gillen don't want to leave the state for a variety of reasons. So for the last 5 years, they've been advocating lawmakers to legalize medical cannabis. That's so their son can take the oil and hopefully improve his quality of life.
I'm not concerned about the high that they talk about because my child has been high on FDA-approved drugs since he was an infant. He's a drug addict, not by choice.
Governor Ricketts is against the medical weed bill, saying the FDA has not tested or approved it for consumption. Shelley doesn't buy that argument.
The FDA-approved drugs have really stripped away the quality of his life due to the side effects. And for us, we feel like the FDA has failed our child.
She also doesn't think legalizing pot medically would make it any easier for kids to get their hands on the drug.
I think it's already happening, and whether it's legal here or not. Teenagers are not waiting around for medical cannabis to be legalized to experiment with it.
Two moms, two very different opinions. Now it's on the Judiciary Committee and the legislature as a whole to decide the fate of medical marijuana in Nebraska. And if the legislature kills the medical weed bill this session, get ready for a petition drive as a major effort to put medical marijuana on the 2020 ballot, likely kicking into full gear. In the studio, John Kipper, 3 News Now.
Thanks for sharing those stories, John.